How's it going, everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of Pokemon Journeys. Today we're going to be covering episode 30, in which Pikachu and Mr. Mime go on a wacky adventure, because Ash has been ignoring Pikachu in favor of Riolu. So how was this episode? Well, before I get into the review, I just want to say if you like this type of content, be sure to like and subscribe, as I cover this series on a weekly basis. Anyways, let's get on to that review. This episode begins with Ash having an official Pokemon World Championships battle with, I believe, one of the dudes from the Vermilion City gym episode where Ash faced off against the stand-in gym leader. So that was pretty neat. Anyways, the guy goes down pretty easily and he runs off crying, which I thought was kind of funny. But Ash ranks up to 901 in the Pokemon World Championships. Neat. However, Pikachu wants to battle next, but Ash, for some reason, it's like, well, I'm sorry, Pikachu, but Riolu's on a little bit of a streak right now. Let's keep it going, which, well, we'll get into that later. Anyways, Ash trains with Riolu basically all day, and Riolu just wants to keep going, so he keeps facing off against different opponents. He defeats Galarian Farfetch pretty easily, which is a little concerning. Hopefully Galarian Farfetch gets a little bit stronger in the future. Just saying. But anyways, Ash trains with Riolu all day, and Pikachu's getting kind of annoyed over here because he wants a turn, and he eventually falls asleep. And Ash doesn't like that and finds that to be lazy. And Pikachu gets mad. He's like, well, why can't I? Well, if you're going to make that face, I'm not going to use you. You can't really use you in battle when you're like that. And of course, Pikachu rightfully shocks Ash because what the heck, Ash? What are you saying? But then suddenly Dahlia shows up with Mr. Mime. And she actually stays the night, but she cooks dinner as well. And Pikachu's all depressed over here. And Dahlia actually tells the story of how Pikachu and Ash met to go in Kohara, which was pretty nice. And I have to say, it's pretty nice seeing our queen smiling all the time. Nice change of pace, writers, so I did like that. Our queen needs to smile more, that's for sure. Anyways, Pikachu ends up sleeping with Dahlia. And Pikachu is put to sleep by Dahlia, and she sings a song that she used to sing to Ash as she was a kid, which is an awe moment. Anyways, the next day comes and Pikachu wants to go back with Dahlia because he's fed up with Ash's BS. But, Ash is over here like, Riolu, we need to do some more training, and Pikachu has had enough at this point and takes off. But Mr. Mime, he's trying to stop the little dude and ends up running off after him, trying to stop him and bring him back to the lab, but Pikachu's having none of it. And thus begins Pikachu and Mr. Mime's wacky adventure, which takes them all throughout town to a lot of familiar areas. However, they end up getting lost. They end up going down a river. They get lost, so they try hitchhiking after seeing a person hitchhike successfully. Mr. Mime tries this and fails repeatedly. But Pikachu is the one that actually saves the day, as it literally just shakes its butt and it actually attracts somebody to pick them up and take them, down the road, which I thought was a little funny. Anyways, they're on their way to Pallet Town. Unfortunately, Mr. Mime and Pikachu fell asleep in the back of the pickup truck, and there's a fork in the road, and they end up going the wrong way, but Mr. Mime realizes a little too late, and they basically have to jump out of the pickup truck and start walking their way to Pallet Town. And throughout this whole time, Pikachu is kind of being a little bit of a brat to Mr. Mime. He's just not having any of it, and Pikachu's just being in general, kind of a jerk to the guy, despite the fact that he's essentially helping him out, and Pikachu kind of starts to realize this after a little while. There's also a little nice throwback to the first episode in which Mr. Mime, he's trying to help Pikachu get some food because they're hungry. They get a berry, but a Spearow comes out of nowhere and steals the berry, but Mr. Mime uses its psychokinesis ability to grab that berry and give it right back to Pikachu, which angers the Spearow, in which a mob of them come out and attack Mr. Mime, kind of similar to what happened in the first episode, and Pikachu steps in and deals with the situation. And because of this, it makes Pikachu think, when he looks at Mr. Mime, I should say, Pikachu realizes it reminds him of Ash, and it upsets Pikachu, but he marches forward, and the two eventually make their way to Pallet Town, and Ash and Go happen to be there, and Ash figured that Pikachu would be here, And apparently, Koharu was the one that actually scolded Ash and made him realize that, yeah, he was basically ignoring Pikachu and, in favor of Riolu. Which, more on that in a little bit, but I guess our queen knows what's going on because she dealt with a similar situation in the previous episode, though. Similar situation, different scenario. Anyways, the two reconcile even though Pikachu gets a headbutt and an electroshock on Ash, which he actually seems to enjoy doing that, but Dahlia ends up punishing Pikachu in the end. But they end up, making up and they end up falling asleep they stay over at Ash's house, so the episode comes to an end there. Oh boy, so this was quite a mixed bag of an episode. So let's start out with the positives for this episode. So the two things I can say for this episode that were very positive, I would say the wholesome, funny moments were pretty good. Like, I like the moment with Pikachu and Dahlia. I like the moments with Mr. Mime, or some of the moments with Mr. Mime and Pikachu. It did drag on a little bit, but some of them were pretty funny. So those moments were pretty nice. And I also like the music in this episode, and some of the callbacks as well. I should also add that in. So it was pretty cool to see that. And the music was really spot on in certain parts in this episode and really well handled. So I gotta say, thumbs up to those departments. They handled those parts pretty well in this episode. Now for the cons in this episode. So some of my fears that I had for this episode did come true. Though the opposite did kind of happen because I was really concerned about Pikachu in the summaries for this episode. But it was really Ash the one that I should have been concerned about, because Ash and Pikachu a little bit later in the episode, it really kind of, I don't know, it felt kind of forced and out of character for both Ash and Pikachu to be the way they were in this episode. Like, Ash just solely focused on Riolu, and he was completely ignoring his, his partner Pokemon that he's been with since day one. Like, really, Ash? Like it really just, it really felt out of character for Ash especially to do something like this after all this time. To do this, especially the Pikachu, it rubbed me the wrong way. And Pikachu did as well. I will say Pikachu, it is somewhat justified to be acting the way it is in this episode, but for Pikachu to literally want to leave Ash and go back to Pallet Town with Dahlia after all that they've been through, like this one day of, this all happening and Ash being like this is basically the last straw. I don't know, guys. I also felt that this was kind of forced, but in a way this is kind of a consequence for the more episodic nature of Pokemon Journeys. Something like this is bound to happen. And I know that they're doing this more so for the newer generation of kids that are watching the show or just getting into it just now, but for people like me and others that have been watching Pokemon for years upon years and seeing something like this, it rubs me the wrong way. I just don't think that this was handled all very well. The writing was not really, it wasn't really well written in certain parts of this episode. So if they do something like this again, I feel like it should be one of Ash's newer Pokemon. Like, I feel like this episode would have worked a lot better with Riolu getting jealous of Pikachu or something like that, since it's a newer Pokemon. But for a veteran Pokemon like Pikachu, of all characters, to act the way it did in this episode, I don't know. It just, for both Ash and Pikachu, it just really didn't work out, in my opinion. Not only that, Pikachu was kind of being a jerk to Mr. Mime in certain parts of the episode, where he was being super bratty and just being, hard to handle. It's like, come on, stop being a jerk, Pikachu. At least Pikachu got some, both Ash and Pikachu did get punished in this episode, so, that is a good thing. That being said, I will say, though, our Queen Koharu definitely came in to save the day, and she definitely scolded Ash, which, yes, Queen, but at the same time, Koharu was the one to give Ash this lecture and this, this lesson. She just learned this in the previous episode, and it wasn't even that big of a deal for her. But for Ash, it's like, this is a Pokemon he's been with forever, and Koharu of all characters, the one that, has to, bring you to your senses at the end of the episode. Like, come on, dude. I don't know. That also was another problematic part in the episode. Like, again, yes, Queen, but why is Koharu giving us this lesson? Go or Ash is the one that's constantly mentoring Go and telling him what to do throughout the series, especially with how Go is treated as Pokemon at times in this series. So for Ash to go back and do something like this in this episode, yeah, this could have been handled a lot better in my opinion. So that's all I got for this episode review. So I will say the wholesome and funny content in this episode definitely saved it from being a 1 or 2 out of 10 episode. But the way Ash and Pikachu is written in this episode, I'm just not sold on it. I feel like it could have been done way better. And it probably should have been with another Pokemon besides Pikachu, like Riolu or Gengar. I think it would have been done probably a little bit better if it was done like that. But yeah, this is what we got. Anyways, I'm going to give this episode a 4.5 out of 10. So yeah, it's a mixed bag of an episode. But remember, guys, this is what I felt about the episode, and please respect my opinion. And if you like the episode and you disagree, I will respect your opinion as well. Just be respectful in the comment section down below. Anyways, guys, let me know what you thought of the episode, whether you loved it or hated it. Post your thoughts. Be sure to like and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys later. Stay safe out there, everyone, and have a great day. Bye.